Welcome to the deep dive. We're plunging into a topic today that, well, it gets almost everyone. Sugar cravings. You know that intense pull toward something sweet, even when you feel like you shouldn't give in? Yeah, it's usually not just about willpower. So our deep dive today is really about digging into the sources, finding real strategies that go beyond, just gritting your teeth. We want to equip you with some powerful insights.
That's right. It's a crucial point. The sources, they consistently show that these cravings, they're often not about a lack of discipline. Not at all. Fundamentally, it's more like your body sending out a signal, maybe a confused signal sometimes, but still a signal. So our mission here is to help you decode those messages, understand why they're happening, and, crucially, give you some immediate effective ways to regain control, feel empowered.
Absolutely. And you might find some surprising connections here, some really actionable stuff that'll boost your understanding. The goal, for you to walk away feeling informed,
Yeah.
sure, but also like genuinely more in control. So let's get into that first layer.
Let's do it.
Okay, so that moment hits, that urgent sugar craving. The very first thing, and it sounds almost counterintuitive maybe from our sources, just drink water. Now you might be thinking, okay, heard that one, but the insight here is deeper. It's about neural confusion.
It really is remarkable how often that happens, that miscommunication. Studies we looked at suggest the brain's thirst centers. They can actually fire off signals that feel a lot like hunger, especially for quick energy, like sugar. So dehydration becomes this potent trigger that we often overlook. Before grabbing that cookie, try a full glass of water. Wait a few minutes. You might actually find the craving wasn't really for sugar.
That's fascinating, that neurological mix-up. Okay, and what if water doesn't quite hit the mark? Our sources really point towards protein or healthy fats next, like maybe a hard-boiled egg, handful of almonds, plain Greek yogurt.
Exactly. And it's not just about filling you up. It's about stabilizing something very specific physiologically. It's blood sugar. When it dips too low, maybe after eating processed carbs that spike you up, then crash you down, your body just screams for a quick energy fix. And sugar is the quickest, but also, well, the most problematic long-term. Protein, healthy fats, they give you sustained energy. They don't cause that big surge, so you avoid the crash. And that helps short-circuit that urgent, demanding sugar craving.
Right, building on that blood sugar idea,
Right.
fiber comes up a lot in the sources too, another powerhouse.
Yeah.
Because if your diet is heavy on refined carbs, low fiber, you're basically setting yourself up for that roller coaster, yeah.
You are. Those processed carbs flood your bloodstream with glucose fast. Big insulin release follows. And that insulin works quickly, sometimes too quickly, dropping your blood sugar sharply. Boom, crash. Then the next craving hits. Fiber, though, it acts like a brake or maybe a buffer. It slows down how quickly sugars and carbs get absorbed, so you get a much more gradual energy release, keeps you feeling full longer, prevents those big swings.
Like apple slices with peanut butter, that seems to fit.
Perfect example. Natural sweetness plus fiber from the apple, fat and protein from the peanut butter, hits all the right notes.
Okay, that makes sense for physical hunger. But what about those times when it just feels emotional? Like you just feel like snacking, but your stomach isn't actually growling.
Ah, yes. This is where we get into things like cognitive load, environmental nudges, very important. The research suggests that simply changing your physical state or even just your location can interrupt that automatic brain response. So instead of just giving in, try to disrupt the pattern. Get up, walk outside for a minute, do 10 jumping jacks, anything, really, to create a break.
That's interesting. Just a small physical shift breaks a mental loop. I've also seen sources mention brushing your teeth. It seems odd, but maybe effective.
Oh, it's remarkably effective for many people. That strong, minty taste, it sends a pretty powerful signal to your brain. Eating time is over. It creates a kind of mental boundary. It's a perfect example of what they call choice architecture. You're not just relying on willpower, you're tweaking your environment or actions slightly to guide your choice. One study even showed how just making healthy options more visible and the less healthy ones harder to reach significantly changed what people ate.
Making the healthy choice the easy choice. Yeah, I like that. And digging deeper into these triggers, sleep. I've noticed personally, if I sleep badly, my cravings the next day are, well, intense. Is there a connection there in our sources?
Oh, absolutely. You've hit on a really significant factor: poor sleep quality. It messes with your hunger hormones quite profoundly. When you're sleep deprived, your body actually produces more ghrelin. That's the hunger hormone. And ghrelin specifically targets the reward centers in your brain, making that desire for quick energy, like sugar, feel much stronger. At the same time, lack of sleep decreases leptin. That's the hormone that signals fullness, so it's a double whammy. You feel hungrier, less satisfied by what you eat, and much more drawn to sugar for that quick boost.
Wow, so it's not just feeling tired, it's a genuine hormonal shift pushing you towards sugar. Okay, that's powerful. And adding another layer, our sources also mention specific nutrient deficiencies possibly playing a role.
Yes, magnesium deficiency comes up quite often. Magnesium is really vital for regulating insulin sensitivity, glucose metabolism. If you're deficient, it can impair how your body uses blood sugar efficiently. That can lead to erratic energy and then these intense cravings as your body tries to compensate. So if cravings are a constant struggle, maybe look at adding more magnesium-rich foods, leafy greens, nuts, seeds, or, talk to a healthcare professional about a supplement.
Okay, so we've got this toolkit now for immediate relief. Hydrate first, stabilize blood sugar with protein, fat, fiber. Use those physical or environmental disruptions for emotional triggers. But like you said, these are immediate fixes. They're just one part of it. For real lasting change, we need to understand the underlying causes, right?
Absolutely, those immediate hacks, incredibly useful in the moment. But the deeper dive, that requires looking at why the cravings are happening in the first place. Often it's not just habit. It could be stress, emotional imbalance, even boredom or fatigue driving them. When you start to see a craving as maybe a message from your body instead of a command you have to obey, that shift in perspective can be really powerful.
That idea. A craving is a message. That's a game changer, isn't it? It creates that little bit of space, that pause. So for someone who's used to just reacting, what's the first step to actually deciphering these messages?
It really starts with cultivating a bit of mindfulness, just asking yourself, okay, what do I really need right now? Am I actually hungry, or am I tired, stressed, bored? That small check-in, it can disarm the immediate urge by shifting you from just reacting automatically to making a conscious choice. And that awareness over time helps you pinpoint your personal triggers too.
And that mindfulness extends to our environment, doesn't it? The sources really hammer home reducing friction. Like if you don't keep tons of processed sweets easily accessible at home, you're less likely to grab them when a craving hits. Makes the healthy choice easier.
Exactly. It ties back to that behavioral science stuff we touched on. Choice architecture again. If the snacks nearby are fruit, nuts, maybe some good quality dark chocolate, you're still satisfying a desire for a treat, but in a much smarter, more nourishing way. And speaking of smart additions, the material highlights natural helpers. Cinnamon, for example.
Oh yeah, cinnamon's great. I put it in smoothies. It adds that warmth, the kind of natural sweetness. The sources confirm it helps with blood sugar balance too, right?
It does seem to, and it gives that perception of sweetness without adding actual sugar. Big advantage. A really key insight from the material, though, is about avoiding extremes, trying to go totally cold turkey on sugar overnight. For a lot of people, that level of restriction just backfires. It leads to these overwhelming rebound binges. It really highlights that this needs to be about balance, not punishment.
That's such an important point. So it's not about total deprivation. It's more about making smarter swaps. How does that look day to day?
Precisely. The goal isn't never eat anything sweet again. It's moderation and quality. If you want chocolate, okay, try a square of really dark chocolate, maybe 85%. It's rich, satisfying. You're naturally less likely to eat a huge amount compared to, say, milk chocolate, which often has less cocoa, more sugar. And here's something fascinating the material points out. Your taste buds actually adapt over time. At first, yeah, dark chocolate might taste bitter. But as you eat more whole foods, less refined sugar, your palate literally recalibrates. You start genuinely preferring less intense sweetness. Fruit starts tasting incredibly sweet and satisfying.
That neurological rewiring. That's amazing, a long-term benefit.
Yeah.
And the impact goes way beyond just cravings or weight, doesn't it?
Oh, definitely. When you cut back on the sugar roller coaster, your energy levels stabilize so much more. You avoid those highs and the crashes that follow. And that usually leads to more stable moods, too. It really comes down to how you feel. More sustained energy, clearer thinking, just a better sense of well-being overall, instead of being stuck in that cycle of crave, consume, crash.
Okay, so wrapping this up, what does this all mean for you, the listener? We've covered immediate hacks, deeper reasons, long-term mindset shifts. Our deep dive really shows that having a sort of plan for sweet emergencies seems pretty crucial.
That really underlines the importance of being proactive. Preparing ahead, whether that's having pre-portioned trail mix ready or a frozen banana you can quickly blend, or just knowing you've got that square of good dark chocolate. Having a go-to that feels like a treat, but without the usual guilt spiral, that's incredibly empowering.
Preparation really does beat temptation, almost every time. And remember, if you do slip up, because let's be real, it happens It's not a failure. It's just a moment.
Hmm.
Reset at your next meal. Maybe learn something from it. It's about embracing progress, not perfection. Celebrate those small wins. Choosing nuts over the candy bar. That's a win.
Exactly. It's about building momentum, creating a healthier relationship with food, understanding your body's signals, and then responding consciously, not just reacting.
So if you've been wrestling with sugar habits, please know you are definitely not alone. These strategies, they aren't about depriving yourself. They're about taking back control. For a better feeling, more energetic, more empowered you, and well, that's definitely something worth mulling over.